All right, everyone, we have an important state Supreme Court decision from the state of Nevada trying to defortify their voting system. There's a caveat to this. Several people have sent me this link, archived in the description, of course. They've got an initiative on their ballot to try to make a voter ID required. So you'd have to show a form of ID that shows, yes, indeed, I'm a citizen and I reside in the state of Nevada. It's called a state ID or a driver's license. They're not difficult to obtain. And the liberals were trying to block this by saying, well, there's no tax or subsidy for these forms of ID, so it's onerous under the circumstances to require that somebody get an ID that 99% of the voting public already has and the rest can easily obtain. It's not actually that expensive. Most people can probably find the $50 that they need to get their little piece of plastic proving that they are who they say they are. And so there was never any there was never any legitimacy to the holdup about this initiative. The Supreme Court has ruled it can go forward, but it will not impact this particular election. And if I could make one pitch, not just to people in Nevada, but to voters around the country, you don't understand. Some people, they don't vote at all. They think when you go in to vote, you're voting for who you want to be the president and the senator and stuff like that. So it's boring political stuff. And they may not feel strongly about it. They may be demoralized, or they may not feel strongly because they're like, I hate all candidates, fuck them all, they're politicians. Trust me, I'm amenable to that in some political races. Who am I going to vote for governor? Mickey Mouse, probably. I'll just write in Fred. I've got a write-in Fred Tuttle campaign, actually. We'll see if we can get him 50 votes. That is probably a good threshold. Because I can't vote for Phil Scott. He's a rhino and a sellout. And whoever his Dem opponent is, who will be a non-issue, he'll win re-election. Whoever his Dem opponent is will be only marginally worse and fail to win anyway, so I don't really care. I'm just going to do a protest vote on that one. But then there are ballot initiatives. And you'd be surprised at how many ballot initiatives you will see on your ballot during certain elections. Like I voted in the last election, of course, in the 2022 election. Went in there to cast my ballot, and there was a whole plethora of different budgets and all of this stuff, like shall the town of Rutland allocate X amount of money to the school budget? I voted no on that, by the way, as did the majority of people, because it was so fucking massive. I did vote in favor of increasing the allocation for like the fire department and the police and things like that, but the mainline educational budget, I'm like, how many kids are in Rutland town? Do you really need, I can't remember what the total was, but it was astronomical to teach a handful of children in a couple of fucking schools, and didn't make sense. That didn't pass, by the way. In the end, they had to amend the budget. I think the second version did pass. They'd parsed it down some. You're spending an awful lot of money in your communities and at the state level that you have some level of control over because of ballot initiatives. In most states, this is a thing, and a lot of people don't even know that that's a thing. This impacts literally everything. Gun control policies. It impacts civic rights, the building of a new museum, road crews and construction, infrastructure. All of these things are on ballot initiatives. My pitch to you is you should care about these things. Go and actually get your ballot and read it real carefully. I mean, you can sit in that little booth for an extended period of time. And just ponder it. Don't even fill in for the politicians if you really don't care. You should care about ballot initiatives. What this would do is that after the election, Nevada would be defortified. It would require that voter ID be produced in order for a person to get their ballot, showing they are who they are. Like when I go to vote, all I do is tell them my name. It's not a problem in Rutland town because people know who I am, and there's always going to be somebody in the room who's seen me walking down the street at Jasana or something like that. Like the officer who oversees security there. We've spoken before, quite literally. So if somebody else shows up and says, hey, I'm Tarl, they're not getting a ballot. It's not a problem here, but it might be in your particular community. It depends on whether it's rural America, suburban, small town, or maybe it's urban, something like that, big city. There's going to be a difference. If it passes, that's good, but it won't impact the 24 election. There's the rough. If it's not in flux for the 2024 election, then you'll have people voting potentially against the initiative who haven't even established that they reside in the state of Nevada and are eligible to vote. Isn't that funny? They're trying to defortify their election, and what might cock-block them is people who shouldn't be voting at all. That would be very interesting. Of course, the left will vote against it. Liberals, some of them will vote for it, some of them will vote against, and then you have the rural population. They'll vote in favor, generally speaking. So get out and vote. Nevada is going to be very, very important in this election. By the way, this is a really great thing for Nevada, by the way. It's good for your economy. Establish yourself as a competitive state as opposed to one that lurches way off in one direction to the other, and you'll get more politicians showing up. I know, hold your nose sometimes. But that means additional revenue from out of state as people flock in to see their rally. So it's actually good to be a swing state. It'll boost your economy. So that's my pitch to Nevada voters. I think that we should have this initiative on ballots in every state. I support universal voter ID. I do not believe in constructing a separate ID that people have to carry. Should be state ID card, driver's license. That's what you should be showing. I don't believe student IDs, by the way, should be accepted because in some cases you have out-of-state students. Of course, that doesn't establish residency. They can get an absentee ballot for, their home state, and that's perfectly fine. I believe in cracking down, by the way, on mail-in ballots significantly. Although I do take up one supposedly left-wing position, which I don't understand why it's even partisan, make the election a national holiday. I do believe in that. It should be illegal to force somebody to work on that holiday, and for people in certain jobs like EMT, fire department, something like that, expand absentee access to them. Let them early vote or get an absentee ballot. That's perfectly fine. For most people, though, if you're not there to flip burgers for an hour, you should be excused for that hour to go and vote. I do believe in that. It should be there should be at least a window of time for everyone in the country who is eligible to vote. But you also need to make sure that only the eligible are the ones that are voting. And that's becoming a problem because of the fortification of elections in multiple states. We can't always even account for every ballot. And by the way, it should be hand-counted only. There should be no electronic systems involved because it's kind of hard to hack a piece of paper. Real easy, apparently, to hack a voting machine. It's been demonstrated a number of times and shouldn't be a thing. Back before the digital age, we managed to get everything counted up by hand. It was possible then. I have a feeling it's possible now. The electronic machines basically are a solution looking for a problem and shouldn't exist at all. Other thing you need to do is to regularly purge the voter rolls to make sure that dead people aren't voting. They tend to vote far left. I wonder why this is a thing as well. That's about all. Peace out.